always.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm here with Ayssa Garcia. Welcome back to the Nam Phan JMMA Show, guys. Yay! Hello, Alyssa. Welcome to the Nam Phan JMMA Show. Can you please introduce yourself for the people who don't know who you are, miss?
Yeah, I'm Ayssa Garcia. I'm 24 years old. I fight out of UWF USA in La Mirada, California. And I grew up, born and raised in Whittier, so it's cool to be close to my hometown.
Thank you very much. Next question. How old were you and how did you get started in martial arts?
I was 19 when I started martial arts. I was wrestling in college, Cerritos College, and I was really small for the weight class. It was like 125 because it was men's division only. And my old wrestling coach was like, hey, I have a gym, you should do MMA and this and that. And so my brother and my old wrestling coach kind of pushed me into a gym in my hometown to get me started. And I started doing jiu-jitsu and a little bit of kickboxing. And then like 3 months into training, my coach at the time was like, hey, you want to fight? Like $100. I'm like, $100, I'm gonna be rich. Let's do it. Heck yeah. So that's kind of how it all started, and then everything just took off from there.
Nice. Next question. How did you first get involved in Japanese mixed martial arts?
I was training out of CSW, and Josh Barnett really took me under his wing. And about 6 months with Josh, he got a call. They're like, hey, we want your girl to fight in Ryzen. You come along with her and you know, help bring the fight up to surface, and that's where it all started. I fought in one of the biggest stages. I fought in Saitama Super Arena in Japan, and oh my God, it was after that it was amazing. That's just all where my connection started after that win in Japan.
Real quick, I don't know if people know this, but was your first fight against Kana Sakura?
Yes.
Alright, you guys don't know this, but Kana Sakura-chan, she is right now the current a rising strawweight female champion, and Miss Alyssa beat her fair and square.
Yeah, no, it was a really good fight. I was definitely being fed to the wolves, you know. They wanted American to go in there and lose to the Japanese girl, and I trained really, really hard. You know, Josh didn't tell me until I literally walked into the ring to check it out. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's gonna be about 30,000 people here. I'm like, what? You know, I'm like, what did I walk into? You know, I'm a total newbie to Japanese MMA, so I don't know. You know, people are coming up to me like, oh, picture, autograph. I'm like, how do you even know me? You know, they're asking pictures with Josh. Josh is like Brad Pitt over there. He's like super famous, so it was like weird. But oh man, it was a Japanese MMA, just the Japanese culture and how they treat their fighters and the respect that they have for their fighters is amazing. It's so different than over here.
Awesome, interesting. Next question. What do you think of the current state of Japanese mixed martial arts in its future?
Japanese MMA is very interesting. It's a big show, you know. It definitely comes reminds me of like pro wrestling matches, you know, when they have the fire and the lights, and you know they treat their fighters like politicians over there. They're like very, very highly looked up very highly. There's a lot of fighters in Japan that nobody knows about, and you would think they'd be world champions because there's just the way that the Japanese treat their fighters and the way they put on the promotions and everything. It's amazing, and I'm hoping the future of Japanese MMA grows in the United States, because you see when you go over there, it's like a totally different experience, and then you come to these shows over here and it's like, it's totally different.
Who inspired you as a fighter?
As a female fighter, I would probably have to say Carla Esparza. When I first started training, my old coach was like, look up videos of Carla Esparza and Invicta. You're going to have a similar style to her. You're a wrestler, she's a wrestler. And I remember watching her. I was like 19, and I was about to have my first amateur fight. And I watched almost every single one of her fights as far as Megumi Fuji, when she fought Megumi Fuji. And I was just like, man, this is so cool. She's fighting in a singlet, you know, and all this stuff. And it kind of inspired me as far as being a wrestler. So my first few amateur fights, I literally just wrestled like the girl, you know. And so I would definitely say Carla. As far as male MMA fighters, I don't know. I liked Vitor Belfort for a long time, you know. Definitely old school. You know, obviously before. I mean, I like TRT Vitor. After TRT is a little different, but I would definitely say Carla. You know, I've been lucky enough I can call her my friend now. You know, I've definitely trained with her a lot, helped her get ready for the Ultimate Fighter. She's definitely helped me out a lot. So yeah, I would definitely say Carla. Carla definitely inspired me.
I know Carla. Oh, I met Carla. Very nice gal.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. Okay, Alyssa, awesome job. Before we get to the fan questions, can you please give the audience a little play-by-play of your last fight?
Yeah. So
and who you fought as well?
Okay. I fought. Sorry, I'm gonna be so bad at pronouncing the name. Her nickname is Sarami, but it's Satomi Takana. She had like almost 30 fights under her belt. So I was going into this fight. You know, I was coming. God, I hadn't been home for 2 months. I was training in Thailand. I fought in China. So I was just on the road for a long time. So by the time I got into the cage for this fight, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this and go home. Like, I want to beat this girl's ass and go home. So I remember, I stepped in the cage. I felt good. My mind was right. I mean, there's no way I was going to get tired. I don't even remember, like, touching gloves or anything. I just remember throwing the first punch. I was, like, so in the zone. You know, she's a tough girl. She's one of those girls who are a well-rounded fighter. She definitely comes from a judo background, but she's kind of all around. She'll throw, you know, she'll tie up with you. She'll try to sweep you. So a lot of my game plan was keep her at the end of my punches. You know, I was in Thailand for almost a month. You know, I want to work what I learned. So I kept on the end of my punches for the most part. The first round was pretty good. She had a good foot sweep. But I kept on the end of my punches. I got a couple of submission attempts, triangle to omoplata, and then we scrambled up. Going into the second round, I think she was a lot more hesitant to throw with me. So I took advantage of that, but I didn't get too crazy and lose control. So I was still keeping on the end of my punches. And then Josh and Uchenna were yelling, 1-2, it's called butter, 1-2 head kicks. They're yelling butter, butter, butter. Because every time I would throw the cross southpaw, she would lean to the right. So I threw 1-2 a few times, and then I kind of faked. I threw a jab and then kind of faked the 2 and threw the left head kick right behind the 2, and it was just perfect timing and a little bit of ground and pound, and the ref called it.
Beautiful,
Excellent. Yeah.
Now it's time for some fan questions. Yay, fan questions! Yay! First fan question is by Mayumi Tanaka. Who is your favorite Japanese mixed martial art fighter, if you have one?
Oh man, my favorite. I liked Megumi Fuji. Actually, was a big one. I watched her a lot. Once I met Josh, I met her. Josh told me, watch Megumi Fuji. You're gonna have a lot of her style too. She's a great grappler. So I remember watching a lot of her videos before I got to my first fight in Japan. And man, she's super like relentless. You know, it's you see her in there, and it's like these girls that come in, you know, like a Chris Cyborg, when they come in so ready to kill somebody, it's hard to stop that. And so Megumi was really relentless on submissions or ground and pound or whatever. So I really liked Megumi Fuji. And the thing with Japanese MMA is it's so much more respect. So, you know, you see win or lose, you can't even tell. You know, if you just see the ending of a fight and they're shaking hands and hugging or, you know, giving each other respect, you don't even know who won or lost, because it's just it's done, it's over with, and now it's just to show respect, you know. So I would definitely say Megumi Fuji is my favorite Japanese fighter.
It definitely, in my humble opinion, Megumi Fuji is my favorite. Also, she's the original queen of MMA.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah, and it's too bad to see her. You know, she was really early for the time of MMA. A lot of people, and nowadays, if Megumi Fuji was fighting down her prime, she'd have any belt she wanted.
She'd kill it.
Oh, she'd kill it.
She'd kill it.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I love that lady.
Yeah, super nice.
Next question by David Lee. Since you started wrestling at a young age, please describe your transition to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and when you got interested in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, actually wrestling, it was a really funny transition. I don't know if most wrestlers have this problem, but I remember getting into, I started with gi. I didn't really see no gi until like 6 months after getting into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I remember getting into Jiu-Jitsu, and I was really spazzy. Because like in wrestling, it's a lot of scrambling and moving around. Jiu-Jitsu is, at least like sport Jiu-Jitsu, is a lot more calm. You know, it's not so much scrambling. So I remember as a white belt, my coach at the time kept saying like, relax, like chill out, like you don't have to be so spazzy, you know. And so that transition was kind of weird, right? Because wrestling, especially a lightweight wrestler, people are scrambling so much, you know. So I remember the transition to Jiu-Jitsu was tough, but I guess not so awkward as it would be for most people. And then I kind of transitioned to Jiu-Jitsu and MMA at the same time, because I really only got into Jiu-Jitsu to start fighting. And so it was kind of all mixed together. But I liked it actually a lot. I liked it especially because a lot of these girls that, when I first started fighting, a lot of these girls came from just an MMA background. So they didn't really, or at least a boxing background, you know, at least, usually like a Muay Thai or boxing background, or just MMA. There was really no girl wrestlers that I didn't see any that I fought, you know. Really, and so I really just like wrestled. They really just felt like wrestling matches, my amateur fights for the long time. But yeah, the transition was kind of awkward, but it's just like anything. You're just learning a new skill.
Exactly. Awesome. Nice. Next question by Muhammad Omar. What was it like to fight on the same card as your teammate Victor Henry?
I was actually really excited to fight on the same card as Victor. You know, he is basically a team captain. You know, he's been fighting the longest besides Josh on our team. You know, he's the hardest working guy in the room. I mean, if you know Victor and you see his fighting style and the people that he's fought, you'd be surprised, like, why is this guy not in the UFC? So, you know, I look up to Victor. We always call each other our long lost siblings, because Josh say that we're like basically identical. But I was really excited to fight on the same card as Victor. You know, it's the first time we ever fought on the same card, let alone in Japan, you know, for deep. So it definitely was an awesome experience.
Nice. Next question by Osamu Nishitani. When is your next fight in Ryzen, and what is your favorite Japanese food?
My next fight in Ryzen, I'm not too sure when it's going to be. My last fight in Deep, I, as respectfully as possible, called out Kana for a rematch, because I know I know she wants that rematch too. She wants to pick that loss back up, and I'd like that rematch too, because I want the Japanese fans to know who beat Kana Asakura, you know? But my favorite Japanese food is probably okonomiyaki. But it's tradition. If me and Josh out there for a fight, or Victor and Josh out there for a fight, we go to Go-Go Curry.
Nice.
Oh my God, it's one of the best places. So the last time we were in Japan, before we left, we hit up Go-Go Curry before the airport.
Nice, yummy.
The famous question. Oh, sorry.
Okay, next question, Miss Alyssa. Okay, next question. When I was announcing that I was going to interview you, you know, you are a very talented, very attractive young lady. Like a lot of young males wanted to know this question. I just randomly picked one guy.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is questions by Christopher Gonzalez. Are you dating anyone?
I am. Yeah, I actually have a boyfriend.
Sorry guys.
Sorry. Anyone who wanted to send me gifts or anything, I'm sorry. I do have a boyfriend right now, but yeah, it's so funny. I actually get all these like funny DMs and stuff. Like, oh, dude, it's so funny. I'm like hesitant to show them sometimes. I'm like, dude, you gotta laugh about them. They're hilarious. You know, some of them are pretty funny. But yeah, I do have a boyfriend.
Oh, sorry. Well, you can still send her gifts, but she has a boyfriend. You can still send her gifts, but she has a boyfriend. Just saying, gifts are always nice. That's cute. Thank you very much. Next question by Seiko Hasagawa. How was your experience fighting in Japan? And how was the Japanese audience different from the American audience?
Oh, that's a good question. My experience fighting in Japan is topped every fighting experience. I mean, it just gets better and better every time I fight over there. The people, the fans are amazing. You know, they know you by name. They know what you look like. They bring you gifts. I've gotten like paintings, drawings, food. You know, it's just the respect that they have for their fighters is amazing. And the audience, I mean, if you're ever in California or from that area, if you go to, I don't want to name promotions, but if you go to promotion in LA or California or Hollywood, people are yelling, put them in a body bag, F them up, you know, stuff like that. It is not like that in Japan, you know, at all. And if, you know, booing, you know, or people are, you know, maybe the fights are slow and people are booing, you do not see that in Japan. And if you do, it's bad, actually. It's like, man, you know you're doing something bad if the Japanese fans are booing you. So the audience is super quiet. I remember fighting when I fought Kana. It was the first time I fought in Japan, and there was a time where I was on my back and I was like, do not fart, because if you fart, everybody in this, you know, there's 30,000 people in this arena, everybody's gonna hear it. So I was like, do not fart. You know, don't do anything.
But when Alyssa farts, it smells like roses. Yeah, just to be clear.
If I fart, like once a year.
She does not fart. But if she does fart, they smell like roses.
I'm just saying, if I ever farted, you know, if this is the first time I was gonna fart and it was in front of this audience, everyone would have heard it.
Yes. It would smell like roses. I smelled it. Awesome, excellent. All right, Alyssa. Last fan question by Rodolfo Rosales. How does your wrestling help or hurt you in a fight?
You know, in the beginning, it definitely was. You know, as you start to meet opponents, as you start to develop more skills and you start fighting people that have more skills, you know, you meet people that, you know, have good wrestling defense or are good wrestlers, or, you know, whatever the case is. So it helped me a lot as far as pressure. Like, I think one of the toughest things to learn as a skill, as MMA skill, is wrestling, because it's so awkward. So at least that skill I already had underneath my belt going into mixed martial arts. But the pressure that wrestlers, you know, they know how to move their weight and their hips and their body. So when you're on the ground, I can't really see anybody getting out from underneath me. You know, if I got gable grips on you and I'm set and where I'm at. But one of the things too is that you tend to go to your bad habits when you're losing a fight or in your bad position. So the thing with like wrestling is if I'm fighting a stand-up opponent and my stand-up isn't working, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to wrestling. But if wrestling isn't working, it's like, oh shit, now what am I gonna do, you know? So I fought Maria Oliveira and she was kicking the shit out of my legs. And then my wrestling was gone. I couldn't even change levels. Like I had like zero mobility in my legs. So when you put so much effort, when you kind of rely on your wrestling, it's like, fuck, this is MMA. Like I can't just wrestle everybody. You know, when you get used to your habits in wrestling, it can be a bad habit too, you know. So it definitely helped me as far as, I mean, it definitely did more good than damage, because it's better to have a set skill, whether it's judo or wrestling or boxing. But I think wrestling is one of the best skills to have as far as martial arts, because it's so awkward to teach.
Definitely agree. Alright, thank you very much, Alyssa, for being on the Nam Phan JMMA Show. Yay!
Thanks,
Alright, I'll see you next time. Good luck on your next fight. Alright, have a good one. Bye, guys. See you later. Bye. Hey. Adorable. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Nam Phan JMMA Show with our special guest, the lovely Ayssa Garcia. Guys, I got to talk to her after the show and the interview with you, and she's very super duper nice girl, and I talked to her about her past, about her wrestling, and she's very athletic, very accomplished wrestler. And I only hope she gets better in her career and she wins her next fight. And I really think if she puts her mind to it, she's gonna become the next probably champion in Japan or in the United States. Man, she has it all, guys. She can strike, she can kick, she can punch, she can wrestle, she can grab, she can jiu-jitsu, she can submit. She has it all, guys. And she's super nice, even better, guys. Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Nam Phan JMMA Show. The Nam Phan Nihonjin Soga Tono Show. I'll see you later. Bye. Have a fire day. Hey!